What if I told you that over 68% of small businesses now pay freelancers to automate their workflows? And most of those automations are built without a single line of code. Really, it's annoying. The real opportunity here is not learning how to code anymore. Sorry, this is done. The real opportunity is in learning how to automate smarter, faster, and sell solutions that run themselves. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I signed my first automation client and I made my first $1,000 for automation project. We're going to see the Upwork contract that I created for this client. We're gonna see the actual automation that I built, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand that you don't need to be a master at creating automations. You can just build something that barely works, and it's still light years ahead than the previous infrastructure of the business. Although, fair disclaimer, this isn't actually the first client. It's the first client that I sold a full automation project without selling anything else. I have been building automations for over 2 years, but it was always as a part of a larger project. For example, I would build a web application for a client and they would need to automate some part of their workflow, so I would build the automations as well. Or I had a client that I have built a website for, or I did a brand design or something else, and then I upsell them a chatbot. So I made a lot of money selling automations that way. It was just at the mid of this year's summer that I started to selling automations by themselves. So I created a new Upwork account, or rather I reused one of my older Upwork accounts that I haven't used in like 2 years. It didn't even have many reviews inside. So I used this account. I was trying to run an experiment. I was like, okay, what if I try and use this relatively new account without many reviews, without any proof, with random jobs from all over the place? What if I use this account and I try to sell only automation projects? And to my surprise, after around a week of sending proposals, I managed to sign this client. So this guy, who was a guy from Germany, and he was selling sales consulting services to other businesses. And part of that sales consulting is that he wanted to build a lead generation infrastructure for them. And he built the cold email system, he wrote the scripts, and he did everything to set up the cold email. He didn't know how to do automation, so he hired me to build a lead generation automation. And the way this automation worked is we scraped Apollo for leads, and then we processed those leads so we could generate like an AI icebreaker that he could later include in the emails, and then we put all the emails back into the email sending softwares. He was using Smartly, if I remember correctly. Now, the funny thing about this project is that it was my first project on Upwork for a very long time, and Upwork canceled the contract. I shit you not, I'm gonna share with you the support messages I exchanged with Upwork. It's mind-blowing. Apparently, the client used on the contract the term scraping or website scraping or Apollo scraping. Oh yeah, he used the term Apollo scraping, and apparently for some reason, Upwork considers that a violation of Upwork's terms and services. I kid you not, I'm gonna show you the support messages I exchanged with Upwork. It's infuriating. So after I spent like a couple of weeks working on the product and building the automation and going back and forth with the client, when I was ready to deliver it, Upwork out of the blue canceled the contract. Thankfully, I reached out to the client outside of the platform and we continued working, and he paid me normally when I delivered the full result and we tested it. And I'm going to show you the payment that he made. I'm going to share with you the Upwork profile with the real contract. I'm going to share with you the support messages I exchanged with Upwork. And of course, I'm going to show you the actual automation that I built for this client. So let's just jump right in and see exactly how this happened. So first things first, let's jump to Upwork and see about the contract. As you can see, the fixed price was 1,000 and the contract was canceled. We started this back in July 8th or July 1st. The beginning of July was due July 8th, something like that. If you go to messages, you will quickly see that Upwork canceled the contract, and I'm going to explain why in a second. Before, let me go through the logistics a little bit. Here's the problem. I always sold automations as a part at the time, not right now. Now I've sold a lot of automation projects just by themselves. But at the time, I was only selling automations as part of a larger project. So I never had a specialized offer for automations, which was a problem for me because I went into the sales call with this guy. I was like, all right, how the fuck should I charge for this? I have no idea how much time it's gonna take me. I have no idea what value I'm gonna provide to him without adding everything else that I have in my original offer, which was something like I will build everything for you, and then I just threw automation in as an add-on. So this time I had to create an offer. So initially I pitched him like 2,000. He didn't want that. He thought it was too expensive, so he told me 1,000. Then I countered with 1.5, and he said, all right, look, I have more projects down the line. Let's do this first one as a test for 1,000, and then we can do the next project, which by the way will be very similar to this one, for 1.5. So this is exactly what we did. I did this project for 1,000. He paid me outside of Upwork because Upwork canceled my product. It's not like I wanted to get him out of the platform. It was easier for me to keep him inside Upwork. But anyway, Upwork decided to cancel my contract, so there's nothing I could do about it. So anyway, he paid me outside of Upwork, and then we did another project and another. So from this $1,000 deal, I ended up making around 5,000 in total because we worked on 4 more projects after that. So 2 of them was for 1.5. One more was for 1,000, so it's 4,000 total. And if you add the first one, it's 5,000 in total for just this one client. I did basically the same project 5 times, and he paid me a total of 5,000, which is an amazing opportunity. And this is when I realized, all right, it doesn't make sense for me to selling websites anymore and doing automation as an add-on. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to sell automations, and if any client needs help upgrading his website or maybe do some rebranding on his company's brand, then sure, I'm going to do that. But I'm going to start selling automations full-time. And boy, oh boy, did it work. But okay, let's go and see the messages I exchanged with Upwork, because this is really funny as well. So I got an Upwork policy violation on July 8th, which is when the contract was due, and Upwork said that they canceled my contract. So they said Upwork customers may not engage in activity that violate the terms of service of other companies or websites. Doing so violated Upwork's terms of service, which you agreed to comply while using the Upwork site. So here's the problem. The client wanted me to scrape Apollo, and technically Apollo doesn't allow you to scrape it from outside sources. It makes sense. If you're Apollo, you would want people to pay for your services, not use a free account and then use Apify to scrape your leads from Apollo. So it makes sense that this is against the terms of services of Apollo. The problem is that it's unreasonable for Upwork to cancel my contract after I've finished it. I would be fine if they canceled my contract just when I started it, but they canceled it like just before I delivered, which is super, super annoying. Now, if we move down a little bit, and you can pause the video if you want to read everything, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. I communicated back to them, and I literally was flabbergasted. I said, I sincerely have no idea what happened. I think this is a mistake. At the time, I really thought this was a mistake. And then another person from support reaches out to me, and they say something along these lines. So this person didn't solve my problem. I said I still think this was a misunderstanding. I was trying to pressure them to reinstate the contract. I was super frustrated because I've already done the job. And then another person replied saying again the same thing about the terms of services. And long story short, I couldn't do anything. And the even funnier and the funniest thing of all is that they refund me 30 connects. 30 connects is like $5. So they canceled the project that was 1,000 and they refunded 5. Like bro. It was like they were making fun of me, and she was so annoying. She even gave me like a little green branded in the Upwork colors heart. That's super annoying. So they gave me back $5. Anyway, the moral of the story is don't trust Upwork for anything. Thankfully, the client ended up continuing working with me, and he paid me outside of Upwork just a little bit later. And here you can see my bank account filtered for just the beginning of August. And And this is our bank account, obviously filtered for this one day. I don't want to share all the transactions that we had for obvious reasons. But as you can see, just a month later, just a month after the beginning of the project, because we also needed to just install to the client and test it properly, and then it took a little bit of time. But we made a contract, and he ended up paying me for this automation project 1,000 euros, which is actually a little bit higher than what I should have been paid. Like if he paid me $1,000 in Upwork, this would be something like it would be like 862 euros. So he paid me a little bit more in euros to compensate for some of the extra stuff that I did, plus the whole inconvenience with Upwork. So anyway, we did the project and then we got paid. So what's next? So this is a screenshot, well, not a screenshot, it's the live the live website of make.com from the client's account. And inside here, you will see all of the little sub scenarios that I built for this client. And as you can see by the date, this was created 15th of July. Actually, can I translate maybe the page to English so you can see it a little bit better? How to translate to English. Okay, so you can see this is 15th of July, like 9 of August, 15th of July. So you can see when exactly I created those. So let me open and walk you through exactly what I built, because you're going to see that this was not worth 1,000 US dollars. Right now, I could have built it 1,000 times better. This was my first project that I built as a standalone automation, so I wasn't really confident and I didn't have a specific pipeline. I was kind of making it up as I go. So let's walk this through and see what we have. First of all, as you can see, they still run it like every 7 days. So they run it on October 3rd, and then they run it on October 10th, and so on and so forth. So we start by creating a large tool to start an API actor. And by that, I mean, we're trying to generate an Apollo URL, a search URL. And from this URL, we exclude organizations that we have already searched for. This is to exclude results that we have searched for in the past. So we are using this tool, and then we're starting an API actor, and then we have a watch task that watches for these actors, for this actor return. The reason that we do it this way is that sometimes this actor ran like for 30 minutes before retrieving all the results that we needed, and the make.com has a 40 to 45 limit to how long you can run each scenario. And if we spend like 30 minutes waiting for the actor to finish, then we didn't have enough time to process all the information. So I had to split it in different steps. This is something, an unfortunate reality of using make.com. It's one of the ways I don't really like it anymore, and I prefer NA10. Anyway, so we monitor everything, and then we're saving companies inside our Airtable. And basically, if the Airtable, if the company already exists, then we're saving it as a new company. And if it doesn't exist, we are supposed to update it. I disabled that route because we ended up just spending a lot of connects, a lot of make.com credits for no reason. And the reason that this exists in the first place is in case we found updated information inside Apollo. But then this ended up being an useless operation for the overall workflow, because once we send an email to the company, we wouldn't send another email for a very long time anyway. So we didn't, even if we got updated information, there was no use if we actually updated on our database. Anyway, after that, I was running 2 subsequent searches in Apollo. And let me explain a little bit how the workflow worked. So we wanted to target companies that hire salespeople, and we wanted to target the CEOs of these companies. So we split our Apollo searches in 2 parts. First, we found a long list of people that were working as salespeople, like sales manager, anything related to sales. And then we got what company they worked for. And then we searched for those companies, and we searched for the C-level executives of the companies and for the manager of the company, so we know who to send an email to. And this workflow is exactly that. We're splitting the search into small companies and to big companies because we were running different Apollo actors for each one. So right now we're scraping CEO from the small companies based on the previous results that we got. and then we're gonna scrape bigger companies. So it's the split is the search is split into small companies and then big companies. Now, after that, we are processing all the records. And by processing, I mean the following. We will retrieve all the information and then we will scrape the website to generate an icebreaker, okay? And if we didn't find a website, we will just get the email that we got from Apollo and we will try to get that domain for the website. So for example, if my email is dimitris@prometheusdigital.com and I didn't tell you if I have a website or not, you might as well just take the domain name, put it on your URL bar on your browser, and see if there is a website in the domain prometheusdigital.com. And most of the time there is. So this is like a system to prevent us from missing a lot of leads because they didn't have companies listed in their Apollo. So anyway, after we got the domains for every company, we're generating the icebreaker, and the way that happens is we're just scraping manually the homepage, and we're getting just the text, and then we're passing everything to AI, and we're generating the icebreaker and a salutation. We also wanted to use different salutations. Apparently, when you're speaking German, there is different salutations for males and females. So we not only wanted to generate an icebreaker for the emails, but we also wanted to generate a salutation based on the gender of the person that we were reaching out to and their position. And finally, we are verifying the email. We are using a service called Million Verifier. And what this does is you provide it with a bunch of email addresses, and then it returns if that address is bad, good, or risky. And basically, you don't want to send emails to bad email addresses, to email addresses that are classified as bad, because if your email account keeps sending messages to unreachable email addresses, then Gmail filters are going to start filtering your account as spam. So it hurts a little bit the overall health and deliverability rate of your email account. And yeah, you can solve this by just creating another email account and just warming it up from the beginning. It's just better to avoid all of this trouble and send only to verified email addresses. And finally, we are getting through this and we're uploading everything to Smartly, and then we're just updating our database that we sent a message to this person. So we started by generating a URL for Apollo, and we ended up uploading all the leads that we found with their icebreakers inside Smartly. And this is the full workflow. And for that, I got paid 1,000 euros. But again, this is not the best part. It's not that I was paid 1,000 euros for this. The best part is that then we duplicated this project and we did it again for another client. We just changed the scraper. So the first part, instead of scraping Apollo, I changed a little bit and I scraped Google Maps. And for the next client, we changed it a little bit and we scraped Indeed. And then for the next client, we scraped Google Maps again and we just added a few more operations. So for a very small amount of work, I first got paid 1,000, and then I got paid 1,500, and then 1,500, and then 1,000 again. So for a total of 5,000, I built 4 of these automations, 4 of these lead generation automations. I got a bunch of experience. I got a lot of new contacts because each of those automations was installed into a different company. So now I'm able to reach out to these companies and they're continuing to give me work over and over and over and over again. And that part is amazing. Okay, so can you build this automation day one with no prior experience, and can you sell it for 1,000 per month, for $1,000 fixed price if this is the first sales call you're ever participating in? Well, no, but you have to start somewhere. Like I had these results and I just jumped on Upwork, and after a week I just signed a deal for 1,000 that ended up being a 5,000 client. So I did that because I have a lot of experience in agency, as an agency owner and as a freelancer and as a software engineer. So odds are you're not going to be able to do the same day one, but you can still find a client and you can sell the same automation for 500. And not only that, if you still need help, thankfully, I have a school community where I can help you. I can give you live feedback. I can give you Loom feedback to all your questions. And basically, I can help you to get your first AI client in 60 days, or you get your money back. So you join the community. I help you as much as possible. You join the live calls, you post your questions, you're getting feedback, you follow the courses. We are there for you step by step. And if you don't succeed, this is how sure we are that you're going to succeed and you're going to sign a client in 60 days or less. If by some reason you don't get one, we will just give you your money back. So there is really no risk for you in joining. Oh, also one last thing. If you do join and you do sign your first client, I'm gonna personally help you deliver the first project. So there is no downside. There's only good things that can come of this. So thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, and most of all, leave a comment to tell me if you like the video and if you want more content like this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.